Magic is a mystery to most, myself included, though for the sake of Sun and Moon I want to document magic and humans' use of it as best as I can. Humans weren't meant to be able to use magic. Yorm was imprisoned before he could grant us that. Either way, humans have stubbornly bent the rules as they often do and made magic possible. So, to start this deep dive into magic, let me tell you about spellcasting. All the sources of my research will be listed at the end. There are 5 essentials for spellcasting: mana, an input, intent, an output, and kindling. Mana bleeds from the wounds of Yorm, who is imprisoned within the earth, seeping from the ground into the air. It can appear orange or red or even dark crimson depending on its concentration, like above the skies of war. Mana is attracted to repeating patterns, fractal and funnel shapes. Note, attracting mana does not mean it is magical. A flower might attract mana due to its shape, but that does not mean said flower can take in mana or use it. Humans need to be augmented to be able to use magic. An input needs to be implanted into the skin, then a funnel attached to it to take in mana. The shape and material of the funnel affects its use. Some funnels give a boost to spells when used in tandem with mana potions, but are worse at collecting mana passively from the environment compared to others. Mana is then stored in the blood. Intent. This is where it gets difficult. The study and knowledge of magic is strictly controlled by the Church, so what knowledge I do have is scrounged together from the limited books available to me and conversations with mages I've had, and with that lack of sources, I have a hard time fully grasping how deep a mage's understanding has to be for them to be able to cast spells. What I can understand is that mana is affected by intent, thought, and emotion. One has to master all 3 before even attempting to cast spells. But even just the act of taking in mana already seems to take an incredible amount of training. Apparently, just slapping an input onto someone doesn't just magically make them a mage. Some mages I've asked have told me it is like a spiritual form of breathing. Instead of air, you breathe mana. Instead of your lungs, you use the soul. And another told me, there is no explanation. To know how to gather mana is to be able to do so. The understanding only comes after the mastery. Now, if that helps you understand it any better, wonderful. But I suppose it is a thing best understood by experiencing rather than reading or asking about it. And I doubt I'll become a mage anytime soon. I don't want to sell my soul to the Church. Output. After you have conjured the spell in your mind, it needs a place to get out, which is the output. Their shape and size affects the shape of the magic. Thimbles are the most common type of output, but a lot of other specialized outputs are used for specific fields of magic. Kinetic mages use rifles to accelerate their spells forward at high speeds. Healers use buckler-shaped ones that diffuse the healing across a large area, and terraformers use a variety of shapes to mold the earth around them. Kindling is what the spell is cast into. Depending on the type of magic you use, you would either be using environmental kindling or prepared kindling. Environmental kindling is quite self-explanatory. You cast your magic into the things around you, so a healing mage healing a person, the person is technically the kindling, a vocalist singing into the air, or a terraforming mage moving the earth. But some types of magic require specific prepared kindling to be most effective. Combustion mages tend to have a powder horn or satchel filled with unfurled gunpowder to tamp into the tip of their output, which the spell gets cast into, causing an explosion that is considerably larger than lighting the same amount of gunpowder without magic. Or kinetic mages having their projectiles cast out of metal. Some I've seen with tasteful messages carved into them. Though they can accelerate anything around them, a projectile that fits perfectly into the barrel of their staff rifle obviously is preferred. So, that is pretty much the extent of my understanding of spellcasting. From mana in the air, taken in through the input, then stored in the blood, formed with intent and thought, and cast out in the form of spells from the outputs. I hope you enjoyed that breakdown of spellcasting. I know I tread over some of the same ground as the magic system video, but I thought it would be a good idea to more thoroughly cover the steps of spellcasting to make it less confusing. I'm gonna be working on a lot of things after this. There's still a lot I want to cover, and it's hard to choose what to do next because I want to do all of them. So I'll probably have a community post going up after this asking what topic I should do next. Take care.